Hello and welcome to the Listening Post's unboxing channel on YouTube. Today I'm unboxing a brilliant amplifier from Vincent Audio, the SV-237 MKII. Now, despite this being the Mark II, it's actually a third iteration of an original amp, so it's really well thought out. Now clearly it's the Mark II of the 237, but the 237 preceded a previous model. All of them are really well regarded, but this latest version is absolutely stunning. Vincent is renowned for its valve hybrid, so a valve preamp stage, and then a solid state power amplifier stage. But growing from that, evolving from it, Vincent have done with this particular model a 150 watt amp. By the way, it like delivers 250 or something like that into 4 ohms. Really capable, really solidly capable amplifier, right? But this thing is a valve preamp, and then the first sort of 10 watts of its amplification is class A, giving a warmth and richness to it that's then reinforced with traditional large transformers for the weight and dynamics associated with emotional volume controls, right? We all know it. Or difficult to control loads in the speakers, or of course, let's be honest, when the music is brilliant and all we want to do is turn it up and listen again and again and again, this is the amplifier for you. Right, digital inputs on board, Burr Brown DACs, Bluetooth, all of that kind of stuff. What this video may not sort of show you though is how brilliantly heavy this unit is. It weighs in over 20 kilos and it's quite sizable. The packaging is muted, okay? It's got a bit of a courier label on one side and some model information and the scannable code. Opening it, now these are typically double boxed, by the way, to protect them in freight, and essentially sort of a freight carton on the outside. Now it's not unusual by the time something has come to New Zealand, and that's exactly what's happened now, for it to be opened and the international power cords discarded and a New Zealand power cord put in. So that's why we see the next element has been opened again for that power cord swap out. Now, because of its weight and because anything that's double boxed, the easiest is to sort of just roll it over and slide the first freight box off and get rid of it. Right, rolling it carefully back over. Again, this is a weighty piece. Again, 20 kilos. Very well built. Opening the next part easy because somebody already opened it for me. And we have a look at the extensive accessories that the unit comes with. There's a bit of information about unboxing, some important information from a warranty perspective. There's a colour brochure about the rest of the Vincent range and a comprehensive user manual. In the plastic bag with this particular model we've got an external aerial to support the Bluetooth reception. We've got a 3.5mm mono control cable for the output control, allowing this to turn on power amplification or other connected devices. And a good but basic fibre optic cable for its digital inputs. There's a New Zealand, obviously, New Zealand IEC power cord. And it's here, just in this little corner, so I'll just sort of show it to you for a second. That we have a little brown box marked Vincent, and this is its remote control. What's fascinating is that they've used the same extruded aluminium from the front chassis as they do with the remote controls, and the remote control matches the product itself. So this one's in black. It's got a little pen battery just tucked in with it, so I'll just quickly open this. Okay, so there's its little clip in the bottom with the battery separately sealed. We'll have a look at that in a moment, but firstly we'll see how beautiful this little remote control is, and I'll put that off to one side. Drilling to the next part's pretty straightforward. It's closed cell foam supporting the amplifier in transit. And then the amplifier is sitting in another set of closed cell foam inside a large bag. Now, honestly, I probably should have rolled this over onto onto the packaging and then slipped the box off, as again, it's reminding me that at 20 kilos you've got to be pretty careful lifting these directly out of the box. Nevertheless, quite a heavyweight little amp, and the bottom of the packaging. Flicking that off to one side. It's a semi-soft protective bag. Sliding that off is relatively straightforward. The trick is sort of lift it and slide the bag under the first set of feet, and then from the side do the same from each front foot. Now, getting rid of that bag, we get to see what a beautiful piece of kit this is. It's really, really elegant. It's deeper than most, and it needs to be. Because of that Class A amplification, it's going to run a little bit warmer, and so they've obviously mitigated that with massive heat sinks on both sides. But look at that from an elegance perspective. Isn't it beautiful? Vincent Audio logo off to one side, along with its model number, the SV-237 MKII. Centrally and eye-catching is one of the tubes associated with the valve preamp stage, and it's beautiful to see that glowing in a room. We see a volume pot style for a treble and bass control, and these are big knobs and identical in look as to the other side, creating a lovely balance. Beneath the treble we've got a 1/4 inch headphone socket, a stereo headphone output, and a tone defeat button. It's a physical switch. Then we've got input lights associated with which input you have selected, including coaxial, optical, Bluetooth, and then the traditional stereo line inputs. Centrally below that window we've got a big switch associated with its power, which runs a relay somewhere in here. And then we've got a loudness button. It's a simple in and out to change the dynamic, sort of EQ, I guess, of the system, and then the infrared sensor. The screen printing in this bottom corner alluding to that Class A hybrid that we spoke about. Again, it's about 10 watts. Then we see basic input selection. This is a rotary encoder with a nice little sort of clickety-click to it. There's a sort of a vibration to that click rather than a really pronounced noise, which is nice and subtle. And again, it just scrolls through the inputs from left to right. And then a traditional volume control, and that's an analog volume pot. So there's a traditional stop-start, and it's illuminated with a subtle red LED. Obviously you can see the base of this product, and you get elegant feet as well for isolation and a bit of ventilation too. Tipping it forward, again we get a sense of its depth. The massive heat sinks, you can hear them. Brilliant quality as far as the aluminium that they've chosen to use, and of course the efficiency required to dissipate the heat associated with this amplifier. Tilting it forward, and hang around for the photographs as always. I'll take some close-ups. There's a couple of tubes obvious through the top, and massively centrally located is its main power supply. Now, as we all know, any amplifier that's going to deliver a couple of 100 watts is going to have a lot of input power to be able to deliver to its output transistors, and this one has it in spades, which is why it's so stable. I feel that they've conservatively rated it at 150 watts rather than doing some of the other things where there's an asterisk and explanation of how they made up the number on page 37 in the manual. So it's excellent to see that they've truly delivered the rated wattage. Spinning it around, and again another look at those heat sinks, and then it's the back that we see some of the inputs and outputs and some of the magic, I guess. Given the fact that the toroidal power supply is at the back of the amplifier, lifting it in this angle is a bit of an effort, and again a reminder that this is over 20 kilos in its weight. Firstly, we see a basic Bluetooth Wi-Fi sort of antenna there, again for the aerial that we spoke about. We see serial number information, and then the dual outputs. Again, a reminder that it's stable down to 4 ohms, and these are the traditional 5-way binding posts. Centrally we've got a voltage selector, and beneath that the ability to manage standby. Essentially it will go to sleep if it's left alone for a prolonged period of time for a power saving. You can turn that off if you tend to listen to music for a prolonged period of time without alerting it with a remote or an input selector or a volume change. There's 3.5mm control outputs, and then a 3-pin IEC input along with a fuse in a little drawer holder. There should be a spare fuse in there too. Duplicated outputs allow for wiring configurations if required. Now what we've got is a series of inputs and outputs, and this is lovely. With a preamp of this quality we have the capability of utilising it as exactly that, a valve preamp. And so the first is a pre-out that I'd like to bring your attention to. The second is a record out, and that's a tape loop. So if you've got an equaliser or a tape deck, the tape loop is important. Then we've got 3 traditional analog inputs listed as S6, 5 and 4. Now the input 1 and input 2 are dedicated to a optical digital input and then a coaxial digital input, and again a stunning Burr Brown DAC on board, so it's brilliant as far as an input and output configuration. They've really, for something as competitively priced as this product, they've really thought about the way that you will choose to use it in an everyday environment and made sure that those features are here in spades. Even the Bluetooth, I mean, okay, sure, if you're going high-end you're not going to use your phone and your Bluetooth, but let's be honest, if you just want to have a listen to something, or maybe somebody's come along with their phone, you want to be able to quickly connect these things, and it's wonderful that they've even thought of that. So, there we have it. Vincent Audio's true hybrid amplifier, valve, Class A and solid state outputs, the SV-237 MKII. Unboxed here at the Listening Post in Christchurch, New Zealand. Thanks for watching. If you want to see more, subscribe to our channel.